When it comes to starting a new junk journal, it's always a very special moment, isn't it? Somehow there's something magical about it. In your mind, there are these special fragments and ideas flying around, sometimes quite concrete, sometimes totally diffuse. Perhaps you have already gathered some materials in colors that match the new journal. By the way, my cup has also this color. Please, let's appreciate that. That is not a coincidence. Perhaps you have also already found some materials with motifs or patterns that reflect the theme somehow you want to bring to life in your journal. And all of this might be chaotically scattered in your mind or in your cabinet or in a box or wherever. But how do you bring order to all of this? And how do you actually start? Maybe that could also be the fact you have nothing and you sit in front of an empty desk with your coffee cup and with the wish to make a journal. How do you begin in such a case when you have nothing at all? And how do you gather all of these little pieces and ideas, all of these tiny things that you then can later assemble into a journal? Hi, this is Luisa Heinzel. And I had an idea about organizing exactly that, what I just said, bringing somehow an organization into our minds and into the things we have on our craft desks while working on a journal. The main idea behind this whole thing is to not get overwhelmed by the things we have, to find a starting point, to have this, breaking of the white page, or how can I say that? I want to have a method also for myself to come into this process of making a journal easier and come back to having fun while making a journal instead of overthinking everything. And I also want to find something where I don't have to stop my flow. Of course, I want to get into a flow when I make a journal, and I want to find something where I can say, okay, I can sit here, I have everything I need. I don't have to stand up from my chair and go to my cupboard or go to my box where I have this or that to pick that up. I want to have everything on my desk, but not in a chaotic way, like it's at the moment, but in a really organized way. And I want to show you a method which is new to me as well, because while I'm filming this, I'm doing this method for the very first time because I want to share that with you. I want to communicate with you during this little series I'm doing here so that we can exchange our experiences. So that's the first time I'm actually doing this method and I'm trying this idea out. So that means that this method and this idea can also change over the time and during the series or in the future. So I wanted to do this like as live as possible. And I also, of course, want to make a journal and show you with making the journal how I do this whole thing. It is pretty obvious which colors I have chosen for the journal. So with the materials I have just shown you, you can already guess which colors I want to use. And this is like a little bit strange because this was a little hard for me to do because I want you to be able to join this whole thing no matter what you have on your desk. That was a challenge, especially for these videos and for creating the journal. I want to create this journal. Yeah, I'm sitting here and this is my life. What you see here is me and my real junk journal life. So I thought about how can I do this whole thing for all of you, even if you think, red, black, brown, hearts, roses, what the heck is she doing? If that is not your cup of tea and if that is not what you want to do, don't freak your freak. Don't run away. Please listen what I say. And then you will see that you can do this with any theme, with any color palette, with anything you have. And if you don't have anything in mind yet, but you want to make a journal, then you don't have to use red. You can also change the colors and do this whole thing with your own colors. Yeah. But I thought, how can I start when I have something which is pretty concrete in my head? What I want to do with this journal is, to be honest, something that I have planned for months. I think it's about, now it's September. I think it's about 10 months approximately that I'm planning this and preparing this. And I'm so excited that I can finally do this together with you. But that also makes that I already have things that I have gathered over the time. Perhaps you don't have that. And perhaps you want to know, how can I start and what is a good method to start? And I would say a color palette is always a good starting point. Perhaps you know that I'm a person, my brain works in colors. Perhaps your brain works in themes. Then perhaps you want to take something like an inspirational thing that has already a theme. Or perhaps you have like the idea of, I want to have butterflies in my journal. Yeah, then you know I have to collect butterflies. Yeah, but when you take something that has a color scheme, or let's say some colors where you say, okay, those are the colors I want to use, I find that really easy to start, especially when you consider yourself a beginner, because then it really doesn't matter what you choose. Yeah, the things I have here are pretty random. I mean, look what we have here. Fruit, roses, clothes. What is that? Yeah. Holy cow, now the battery of my phone is obviously dying. I'm sorry. Would you please charge this? Oh my goodness. Hopefully this will work. So what you can see here is like inspired by this card and by the color palette on this card, but the things are pretty random. And do you know what I think, what makes this method with the colors more interesting than having a theme in mind? That is that you have, in the end, really random things which then turn into something interesting for your journal. Let's say you have the plan of making a butterfly journal in red and black. And suddenly you find things like this. And you turn your brain into this color direction and you tell your brain, this is red and black. I take this to my desk, even if here is not a single butterfly on this sticker sheet. But you could then suddenly think, this bow reminds somehow to a butterfly. Imagine this bow had feelers or like a butterfly shape underneath, then this could be easily turned into a butterfly. This card I made in a special little series. If you follow my channel, you know this card. If you don't know this card, I will link the videos down below for you. I made this in a series with my landlord and friend Sasha, and we made some papers with the help of a guitar. And this is what, very surprisingly came out of this series. If you have seen the series, you know how this came. Really crazy, because here's a heart, and my relationship to hearts was really crazy. Now I love them. I don't know what happened, but yeah. I mean, actually, I know what happened, but in the series you can see that perhaps a little bit better. By the way, These papers we have made are also in the meantime available in my shop. I have digitized them and now they are available as a digital download in my shop. They are called guitar prints. The link is down below in the description box. Many of you have asked if I can do that and if I can provide them to you, and of course I can, and I did that immediately after we had finished the series. So if you want to have them and if you want to perhaps use the same materials like I use here, then you could find them in my shop. But I also want to tell you at this point that these guitar prints will be not the only papers I will use for the journal. Yes, there's something very, very special coming. Also a digital paper set, which I, as I said, am preparing since like 10 months or so. That is very special, a very personal thing also. Where many personal things went into that paper set. That is also coming, and I will use that also for the journal. So not only these guitar prints, but the other set as well. But I want to have the surprise as big as possible. So I will not show you those now. But what we have here is red and black and a little bit brown. So I have already these things gathered. I have also gotten some of these things from a junk journal friend of mine. She is at Nature Spirit Journals on YouTube. Perhaps you know her. Her name is Nicole, and her channel is Nature Spirit Journals. And she has sent some of these things to me. So Nicole, if you are watching, thank you very much again for these things, because I realized that I have not so many red things in my stash. And then she said, oh, I have some, for example, these stickers. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is just perfect for what I want to do. And then she offered to send this to me. So that is really, really generous. Perhaps you remember that we made... I'm sorry. There's already something inside because I already recorded my German video. Hopefully that was not too loud. Perhaps you remember that we made this little thing the last time. In my last video, I made this, and German video, English video, I have 2 of these in the meantime. And this is my organization system during my process of making this journal. As I said, this is the first time I try something like this for myself. I want to communicate with you about this, if this is helpful. So please, if you have anything to say about this, if you have an opinion about this, please leave a comment and let me know what you think about this method, which I will explain you now. You don't necessarily need, and that is something that I really want to point out, you don't necessarily need, first, such a decorated organization system. I just did this because I wanted to have something that is similar to my big SCHRANK. I call it SCHRANK because this is a German word. My big cabinet. I have shown you my cabinet and the labels I made from my cabinet, and then one thing gave the other, and I ended up with something like this for my desk. But you don't need it in such a decorative way. You can also just take a plastic organization thingy and put everything inside. This is plastic, yeah? Even if it looks like wood, it's plastic. If you haven't seen the other video, go to the description box. I have linked it there, where you can see how I made this or decorated this so that it doesn't look like plastic anymore. The categories I have on here, I have chosen for this specific journal I want to make now. That means, on the one hand, this could change for the next journal I make. That also automatically means that these categories I have here could be different than the categories you choose for your journal. Let's talk about this in detail. What is this and what have I done here? So the first category I have here is die cuts and stickers. And the plan is, oh, it's hard to take this out. The plan is to put all of the die cuts I want to use in the journal, all of the stickers in here. And, this thing here has several compartments. If you take these little dividers, I will tell you in a second why here is no divider. I've decided that already while I was recording the German video. But what I want to try to say is, if you want to choose something like this, like an organization little drawer or so, you could think about choosing something where you can change the size of the compartments in these single things. But please decide that, with your own brain. I don't know how I can say that in English, so that it is comfortable for you. I have no problem when I have die cuts and stickers and the other both things that are on the other label mixed in here. So my brain can handle that. But if you are a person that needs like the stickers in a separate compartment and then the die cuts in the next compartment, then please do that. It could happen that you say, okay, I need that, but my die cuts are too big to fit in here. Then you could do a really easy trick. Just take a little piece of paper, write the number or the name of the die cut to the paper, which, you know, the name of the die cut you want to use, and put that in here so that you have like a little note which of your die cuts could fit to the journal, yeah, or to the theme of the journal, to the colors of the journal, or whatever. You could also do it like I will do it with some bigger pieces like fabric. I will show you that in a second. That is another opportunity to get this chaos here into an order, but I will talk about that when we come to the category lace and fabric. So let me take these out again, because I decided that I also want to use some wildflowers die cuts, you know, these wildflower stamps by Zizix and Tim Holtz, and they are pretty long. So I decided to leave these dividers on the side and just put the flowers in here mixed with my stickers, and I think I can handle that, hopefully. But this can also change, yeah, when I mean, you can see I have already put some stickers in here. This could change during the next minutes, hours, days, weeks, yeah. When I change my mind, I changed this up so that it is then more comfortable to me. The next category is focal points and quotes. I have put that to next to each other here because I thought, I mean, that is like with that happened with thinking about it, yeah. But I want to share my thoughts so that you can make your own thoughts and perhaps make a logical order, which is like logical for you, for these little captions here for the labels. Because die cuts and stickers, that is something like pretty similar how you use it. Yeah, if you glue a die cut down or you glue a sticker down, there is not such a big difference. And for what you use, die cuts and stickers is also pretty similar, I would say, at least for me. Focal points is here next to die cuts and stickers because I often use die cuts and stickers as focal points. So it makes sense to put that next to each other. And when I think about focal points, where are those? Well, I think mostly there where also quotes are, or if I have a focal point, I like to add a quote. Does that make sense? So when I have this, I look around here, what else do I have? I have this little leaf here, which is also a sticker. And I had something that I also wanted to include here. Where is that now? Here. From this sticker sheet, well, let me quickly put that to the side. Oh, it doesn't want to come out. Come out, please. Holy moly. There are those packages that act like they have a character somehow. Go away. So when I have this and I see something that I could use, then I just take this and cut this off because I want to have this thing here. This immediately gives me an idea because I already have something in my mind about the theme and all the other papers I want to use. This digital I was talking about, which is a surprise, this fits very well to that, so I decide that goes in there. If I use these, I will decide later. I will first go on with the categories. I just wanted to make a tiny example how I work with this. So then, is it possible to put that in here without losing everything? I have no idea. Another category here is tags and cards. That is obvious. I want to have tags and journaling cards in my journal. So those will go in there. I could either take something like this, which is already in the right color scheme, made with the papers I want to use. I could take this card and put that in here. I will not do that now because we need that for the color comparison, yeah, for the next items. But I could take something that I already have and put that in here. Or I could say, okay, I sit down. I don't have cards and tags yet, but after I have gathered all of my materials and put them into this organization system, I could use the things I have put in here and create the tags and cards from the materials I have already in here on my desk without the need of standing up and going to my cabinet and taking other things from my stash, because I already have this stuff here. I already have a focal point in this compartment, which I can then use to put on my tags or cards. And then I have those. Another category is page tabs. That is perhaps weird compared to tags and cards, because this is way more like bigger, or I need more of these perhaps. But page tabs are something that is, even if it's tiny, very important to me. I need page tabs in my journals. If I make a journal without page tabs, it's not my journal. So that is important to me. What am I trying to say? Find things that you want to put into your journal which are important to you and to your process, to your style, to what you want to do. You don't need the same categories like I have here. Then I have cluster and banner. Why does it says cluster? Why doesn't it say clusters and banners? Because I have everything in plural. Oh my goodness, I think I have to change this. Otherwise my... you know, my monk is going crazy with this. Yeah, but that is clear, isn't it? Cluster and banner is also some... Clusters and banners is also something I could create from the materials I have in here. Like, for example, with my focal points, I could also use some fabric and lace for making the clusters. I could use some labels, which I have then in here, to make what then goes into this compartment. And later on, when everything is filled, I can sit down with my journal and take the things out from here and decorate my journal with the things I made and put into here. Does that make sense? Then I have a category that's called pockets and tucks. Into this category, I will also put something like belly bands or little envelopes that could work as pockets and tucks. Then I have a category which is called tape. That is something special in this case for me, and I gave the thing a category. I mean, tape, what is that? That sounds like the tiniest detail, the tiniest thing, yes. But in my case, I did this here, that I have a reminder that I want to do that, because I have something in my mind that I want to include into this journal I want to make next, but also in my future journals. And that has to do with tape. And to have a reminder to do that, I have put this word here and gave it an extra compartment here in this little drawer so that I don't forget it. It's like a little homework or so, that I remind myself to do this idea, what I have in my mind, so that I can't forget it. When it's here, I can't forget it. Then I have fabric and lace here. That is, I think, clear. If you are someone who has like fabric and lace free journals and you don't use fabric and lace as well, you don't have something like this. Then here perhaps is on your box something else. Then I have buttons and beads, because that is something that I always use. Yeah, again, if you don't use those things, you will probably not have this word here, but something else or nothing. Oh, also, if you are a beginner, or I don't like this word, if you consider yourself a beginner, let's say if you're new to junk journaling, please don't get overwhelmed or don't be overwhelmed about all of these categories. I have 12 categories here now, and I have also more than one word on each of the labels. Please don't think, oh my goodness, that is too much, I need all of this. You don't need all of this. If you have just started with junk journaling, you can also say, I make only one of these with, for example, 6 categories. Or if that is already too much for your brain, that is absolutely no problem. That is completely normal. Yeah. When you start with something, you can't have an overview over all of this. I try to help you, yes. And for me and for my videos and for my way of making journals, I need all of these. But that doesn't mean that you have to start with such a big amount of those categories. You can also say, I start with 3. I make my first journal and I choose the one that, I choose 3 of those categories that Louise has suggested or that I thought about by myself. And I start with just 3. But then you have a starting point. Even if you would say, I start with 1, you would have a starting point. And that is something where you then don't sit in front of an empty desk, but you have something to start with. You have something that says, okay, in this case, for example, labels and frames. I have to find or make labels and frames. That is somehow like a task. And this is not empty. Your desk is not empty. You have a task, what you have to do or what you want to do. And then you can say, okay, I have no idea where to get labels and frames. I will search, for example, on YouTube or on Google or on Pinterest or in my craft shop or wherever, yeah? But then you have a task, what you want to do. So the next thing here, yeah, I said buttons and beads, and then we have labels and frames. Then we have snippets and miscellaneous next to each other here. So let's make some examples for snippets and miscellaneous, and let's talk about why this is like together here, because I think sometimes you can't really decide if it's a snippet or if it's miscellaneous. I will tell you what I mean. For example, this little thing here, which comes obviously from the spine of a book, this is a snippet to me because it's a tiny little thing. A snippet, isn't it? For example, this here, this is something that I have only one, yeah, and I need only one compared to, for example, something like this, where you think, okay, these roses, I could use more of them, more than one. I have more than one. Here, I don't have more than one, but I don't also don't need more than one. But where would this fit into the other categories? I can't find a category where this fits, so this goes to miscellaneous. If I want, I can also do it like this, if I want to have a better overview. But in that case, then this is a snippet and this is miscellaneous. Do you know what I mean? For example, these little bows. Ooh, to be honest, it's hard. It's really hard. If you know me, you know that I usually don't use bows at all. I don't know why. It is somehow the shape. It is this like crazy process of making bows. I got these from Nicole at Nature Spirit Journals as well. That's the only reason why I have them. But somehow for this journal, I have the feeling that they would fit really well. So I want to use them. Not only because of the color, which fits really well, but the shape and yeah, it fits the theme of the journal. But where to put these? I mean, fabric, lace, ribbon would be one category, but this is already a thing. This is already a bow compared to, for example, this, which I already have put into the category fabric and lace. This isn't a piece yet. This is not an ephemera yet. It's not something like a little dingly dangly cluster or whatever. It is just the lace. But, or I don't even know if that is the right word, because this isn't lace. It's like, how is this material called? Something similar to this. It's Samt in German. I can't come up with the English word. It's really fluffy material. It's not fluffy, but smooth. But what I'm trying to say, this is not a thing yet. But this is already, this ribbon has already been turned into a bow. So it is already something. So now I could say, okay, I have 2 of these. I put it into miscellaneous, or, because it would fit here, or I already have an idea for what I want to make from these. For example, you think, oh, this bow, I can see a cluster made with this bow. Then I would take the bow and put it into my category clusters. Why? That I can remind myself that I want to make a cluster out of this. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if I want to make a cluster. It goes in here because, you know, bows. It's bows. It's crazy. But that could be a way to organize the things where you could say, okay, that is totally different for me than it is for you. Yeah. So what else do we have? I have another of these. I have already in my category tape, I have already this black one and this washi. So what else do we have? Oh, let's make the example with the fabric. Let's say you found something like this. This is just some decorative, like, you know, what is this? Where is the open package of that? I had the second one. Where is that now? Did I already? Oh, yes, okay. I'm so sorry. I don't want to open this. I have bought 2 of these because I thought for Halloween or so that is good to put one in my stash and use the other one for my journal. And I have already opened this one. So let's take this. So let's say you have this thing, and this is obviously way too big to put it into this compartment which says fabric and lace. It's way too big. If you then also perhaps have a piece of fabric, which is obviously also too big to put in here, what to do with this? What to do if you don't want to get overwhelmed? Very easy. Cut a piece off from the fabric. Cut a piece off from this. Ooh. Just like so. Do we have something else which is too big? Yeah, I make another example. Makes me nervous. I already have an example in here because I recorded the German video already, but I will make another example for you. Let's say you have something like this, which is also pretty big, and you have, let's say you have a lot of this, and not everything fits in here. Cut a piece off. Then, after you have done that with all the materials that are too big, take, for example, a bulb pin, a safety pin, or whatever, and make a little swatch thingy. Now I know I have more of this fabric. I have more of this stuff, and I have more of this. And if you then think about an order, how you want to put this on here, if you think perhaps I want to set an eyelet into these things so that they can't get destroyed here, then you not only have a little cute swatch thingy for the things you have in a bigger amount, but at the same time, you made, without even noticing it, a little decorative piece for your journal, because you can take this exactly like it is and just hang it to your journal later. This doesn't have to go back into your stash. You can just use it. Yeah, you can, while you are sorting these things and organizing these things, make little decorative pieces. I did the same here with other materials I have in a bigger amount. And now I, within seconds and without even noticing it, have pieces I can use as they are and throw them into the journal later. They will go in here. Oh, I already even have a third one. Look. Done. And I have something. I'm not sitting in front of an empty desk and not knowing what I do. But what to do with these things then, that is easy. I have a box where I have the rest of what I just swatched in, so that I can just grab it from here. This box is not too big, so that I don't get overwhelmed with too many things in here. In here there are only the things I will use for the journal, and everything that is left over later I can just take and put it back into my normal organization system in my room. And this I have on my desk next to these. This is just like a garage for the bigger things which don't fit in here. And to not forget the things, we have these tiny things. Is that a good idea? I think so. What about these roses? These are a little bit kitschy. That is good, because I think in the journal there will be a really crazy mix of romantic, kitschy, modern, vintage things. I think it will be become a crazy mix. These are pretty bulky. And do you know what? When I have these things and I think, okay, I want to use these, even if I now already can see this is pretty kitschy, it has glitter, it is not really my style, but it would fit the journal. It can happen that if I would take these and put them into, for example, where would this fit? Like it is. It would perhaps fit to focal points. Yeah, because you could easily take this and make a focal point out of that. But if I would put it like it is into the category focal points, it could there could happen the following thing. They are thick. This green doesn't fit. The glitter is something where I think, I'm not the glitter girl. But the bulkiness of them is the main thing which could hinder me to use them in the journal, even if they are in my mini cupboard here. So what could I do with them now to make sure that I will use them? And that is something I want to show you, because when I see these, I, as I said, see that they are way too bulky. And I want to immediately decide, oh my goodness, I have my hair in the scissors. I will want to immediately see what I can do with them. Do that. For example, remove this green stuff, because who needs green in that journal? These flowers don't need green, and I want to see if I can take them apart to make them more flat. If I do that carefully, I think I can do that. Oh my goodness, they are glued really well. Let's see. If I lose some pieces, I have to live with that. So this wire, we don't need that as well, I guess. Shall we separate these, or shall we go the safe way and leave them? Because, I mean, now it's pretty flat. That could be, let's see, one. I'm trying to count the layers. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I could divide it here. Let's see if we lose one by destroying it. Perhaps not so crazily. bad. I mean, if I would destroy this now, I could still glue the single petals back together. That is also not a problem. Let's see. Okay, this is better. Look, now it's flat. It has only 2 layers. And we could do something with this really easily because it's not bulky anymore. What do we see when we see this? I would say either a focal point or something like this. Oh my goodness, look. Oh! How wonderfully is this working? I mean, look. Can you see? So now you could either think, I will take a needle and a thread and directly sew this together so that I have this, like with this example. Or if you think, I'm not so sure if I want to do it like this, then decide what this is now. So for me, this is a cluster now. Definitely not a focal point or something, but that is a definition thing in your head. You could also put it into the category focal points. But for me, this is a cluster because I can imagine adding other things here and then the button. Then that is also the reason why I don't sew it together yet. But now I have here in my category clusters and banners the things I want to, or one of the things I want to use for making the clusters. So let's put this here and let's, yeah, this is a little bit destroyed, but that is not so schlimm. That is a German word. That's not a problem, because when we layer this with something else, then this we can make that work. What about this? Yeah, I think we can take that apart as well, like so. And this, is it possible to, ooh, what is, ooh, what is that? It feels like Easter. What is that? There's an egg inside. Okay, let's see. Now, this is not a full layer anymore. This turned somehow into a snippet now, didn't it? I mean, imagine stamping a little number here or gluing a little label. It's more a snippet, somehow a leftover. What the heck? The same. Oh, okay, now I have two. The same with both of these. I will not throw them away, but they will go in here. This little thing, I don't know. Since I have found a solution what to do with these, I can just take these, put them in here, because I can see that I can take them apart and do this with them, but I can do that later. And I don't have to stress myself now because I already found a solution what to do with these. Yeah, of course you can say, okay, I do that now. Probably I will do that after finishing this video, but I don't want to bother you with taking the flowers apart. Yeah, but that is also a personal thing, how you want to do that. So what else do we have? I also had a ton of these things, like these bling bling things, little hearts. I also went to my cupboard with my buttons and searched for some red buttons. And as you can see, I have the focus on the red here. The other colors from here, meaning black and brown, will probably follow while I will think about other things I want to put into the journal. But as I said, I didn't want to overwhelm you, so that's the reason why I focused on the red. And for me, red was like the starting point, this thing where I thought, oh, I don't have so much red, where to get red? Yeah, and then Nicole sent all of the things to me in this red color, and that's also the reason why I have so much red here in the moment. But that doesn't mean that I won't use brown and black, which is also on here. Yeah, you see. So I have buttons, and I have this butterfly, which is only a little bit red, but the most of it is orange. I also found this snowflake. I have already some beads and buttons in here, which I have put in here while I made my German video. And the color of this button, I would say, fits perfectly, so I can just throw it in there. But then I have a little problem with some other things I have here on my desk. These, in the camera it looks not so, oh, now you can see it, I guess. It's more orange than red. Can you see that? It's, that is like biting this color. Also this butterfly, I would love to include the butterfly in the journal, but look, holy cow. I mean, you would have to find like a really good spot for this if you would like to leave the colors here. But what could you do if you can see that you want to change the colors? Very easy solution. I am going to take a little container for the things which can roll away or which I want to color completely with a different color. So I throw everything in there that I want to change. And then I choose a medium which can work on the material. So that can be something different for you. If you have plastic, then you can use alcohol ink. I have the color Poppy Field here. My collection of alcohol ink is not very big, so I have to improvise a little bit. And I already found out that Poppy Field and a little bit of Slate gives me the color I want here. I already found that out in the German video. But you can experiment with that, of course, and then find the right color. So I just throw that in here so that I can change the color of these easily. I have the results from the German video already here. I've put them aside to dry, so that is what I already got. So then these can go here and dry. And as you can see, they are not orange anymore, but now they are red, and this makes me just happy. So what will happen next? I will go on with making these into the color I want. I will then go through the other things I still have here on my desk and put them into my little cabinet there. You will then see the single drawers and what is in the drawers in the next videos, of course. If you want, you can do the same and collect things for a new journal. If you want, you can do that in the same color scheme like I do it here. Perhaps you want to transfer it to another color scheme. Feel free to do that. Perhaps you want to check out the guitar prints and do something like this for your journal, for your inspiration, for having a color palette. Perhaps you want to check out the videos where we made this as an inspiration. I would be really, really happy if you would follow my process here, because this, what I have here, is something that will go into this journal, yes, but it is also something that is like, that happened on the side while I was preparing the other things. And this was originally not planned to go into the journal. It was not planned to happen at all, but it happened. And I'm happy that it happened because it fits so well. But I would be, of course, really, really happy if you want to know what else will come. Because, yeah, as I said, the printable I'm planning and the printable I will use for making the journal, mixed, of course, with other materials, that is something really special to me and that tells a really nice story, I would say. And perhaps you want to know that, and perhaps you would be, yeah, interested in that I share that. So I can't wait. I will go on with this, organizing my things, and hopefully we will see the next time. I can't wait. Have a very, very great and creative day. See you. Bye bye.